Guys, welcome to the new moon in Leo. We're really with this cycle, with this new moon, starting like a rebirth process in terms of coming back into contact with the authentic nature of our heart and soul's true authentic expression, our personal creative self-expression, really trying to come out and be reborn this cycle. And we are getting a lot of actually support and protection in this process throughout this month, and that's good because we might be needing it, because this cycle is also going to be marked by some really significant and tremendous changes and upheavals that are ultimately working to liberate us to be able to come back into that true authentic creative heart-based self-expression. And in this report, I'm also going to talk a little bit about this Lionsgate situation that is somewhat lining up with this new moon that is causing a big stir in the astrological community. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. My name is Aubrey, and this is my report for the new moon in Leo, and there's a lot to talk about today. Like I said, this is going to be a very significant cycle in moving us forward and helping us to release things from the past. It's going to be quite transformative. Remember, this new moon is happening in between two full moons in Aquarius and Leo, in between the blue moons this year. And we are really, with this cycle, getting some assistance in being able to realign with the true and authentic nature of our heart and soul so that we can move forward through the changes in our lives, through the things that are going on, and really start to initiate the process of coming back into our own self-mastery, our own empowerment, and becoming the masters of our own lives and our own reality. That's really what the universe is trying to do for us over the course of the next couple years, and this new moon is a significant part in that process. And one of the fundamental reasons for that is because this new moon is in a square with the planet Uranus. Uranus rules the sign of Aquarius. Uranus is the planet associated with the Great Awakening. It's the Great Rectifier. It's the silver lining planet. And it's the planet that always puts things right. And it's really trying to, through its placement right now and the aspects that it's been making, especially with Saturn in Aquarius right now, to liberate us all from sort of these prisons that we've built for ourselves in various ways that are hindering us from being able to do what this new moon cycle is trying to get us to do, and that is to come back into alignment with the true, authentic, creative self-expression and our personal brilliance, our personal ingenuity that stems from that creativity that is inherent in the true nature of our heart and our talent and our gifts and what we are blessed with and how we're meant to shine, Leo. So let me talk a little bit about the Sabian symbols of this new moon and what the stars are telling us about the actual meaning of it and what we're getting alongside of it based on the specific degree that it's happening at. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel or who don't know about the Sabian symbols, what they are is a group of symbols that represents each and every one of the 360 degrees of the zodiac. And the way we use them is whenever a planet is discharging a specific degree, we can look to the symbol, we can read the symbol, and it really gives us more information about like the underlying cause and purpose about why this given transit is in effect in the context of the greater overall unfolding blueprint of the cosmos. So it really just gives us more clarity and better idea in terms of why aspects are happening and like how they're happening and what the overall context of them is. And so for today, this new moon, it's actually happening at exactly 16 degrees and 14 minutes of Leo. But when we read the Sabian symbols, we always round the degree up to the next degree and read that, because energy moves in waves, and by the time that a planet begins discharging any specific degree, it's really already picking up on and beginning to like move with and resonate with and discharge the energetics of the incoming wave of energy. And so we read the incoming wave for any degree, so we round up. And so for this new moon chart today, I'm looking at 17 degrees of Leo, where the sun and the moon are going to be coming into a conjunction. And that's what a new moon is. It happens every single month when the sun and the moon come to the exact same degree in the sky and begin a new cycle. They come to a conjunction, they begin a new cycle, and then for that rest of that month, whatever is like planted or started or intended at that new moon cycle is what grows throughout the course of the month. So remember too, in the context of all of this, we are in the new moon, and that is the seed planting time. That is time for intentions. That is time for setting goals, making dreams, envisioning how you want your future to go. It's a time when you really want to like put into practice any type of manifestation techniques that you have going on. Although you guys, actually for this specific new moon, I'm actually more recommending that we wait until a few days after the new moon, until the 11th, because that really is going to be the day when the window is open for the greatest potential and assistance in manifesting what we want going forward into this cycle. Usually it's always on the new moon, but just because of how things are playing out this year in the context of this Lionsgate thing that I will also talk about, the 11th is really the day that you're going to want to do your practices, do your imagining, really focus on setting your goals, setting your intentions, and imagining and aligning with and believing the trajectory that you want to unfold over the course of this cycle, the next few weeks. So back to the Sabian symbols. This is happening at 17 degrees of Leo, and I'm also looking at the polarity point 17 degrees of Aquarius, because this is where the moon will be, or the earth will be. The sun and the moon will be at 17 Leo. The earth is always in polarity to the sun, so the earth will be at 17 Aquarius. So I want to read what's going on with the sun and the moon, as well as what's going on with the earth, just to help us understand, right? So the degree of 17 Leo, where the new moon is a volunteer church choir singing religious hymns. And the degree where the earth is today, 17 degrees of Aquarius, this is a watchdog standing guard, protecting his master and possessions. So these two degrees, being the specific degrees activated through this new moon today, tells me that we have support and we have protection in this process of realigning with our heart. And it's coming from the divine, and it's also coming from just people that you may not even know, or that you may not even have that like intimate of a connection with, but who are wanting to give you support. There's people generally are going to be feeling like they want to assist other people, they want to help other people, and they want to support people through their faith, through their belief, and through this like higher connection that is going to be prevalent over this month as well. You know, there's a lot of aspects of this energy this month that is really working to wake people up and to open people's eyes to things as we go through this rebirth, to realign with the true nature of our heart and soul. And people are going to be willing to assist others in this process, and even if it's just through positive intentions, or you know, saying a prayer or something like that, there is community support through this process. And again, that could be coming from the divine, or that could be coming, just like it says, just through random individuals doing, what's that called? Random acts of kindness coming through, random acts of support coming through this month. And also protection. A watchdog standing guard, protecting his master and his possessions, is the degree of the earth. So the earth and its creatures are really being protected from above. You know, protection is available, and it's fierce. You know, a watchdog standing guard. We're protected in this process of realigning and having this rebirth that brings us back into contact with embodying the true nature of our heart and our soul, and what we need to feel alive and to shine and to truly authentically be able to express and be and live our truth, our self-expression. We're being protected and we're being supported, not, you know, necessarily in intimate ways, but in more collective ways, in more like social ways. And there's just people supporting people this month through this process. And I think that that is interesting, considering all of the contrast and all of the conflict that has been being driven lately, to see that this month there's actually people supporting each other and protecting each other. I think that that's a really positive thing in the context of the other energetics and the transitional process that we're in right now. So we have that. Also, like I said, this this new moon is in a 2-degree orb square to Uranus. So if you watched my video from Friday about the sun square Uranus, you should, if you didn't, you should check that out, or, you know, apply that information to this video as well, because that energetic is still very much in effect. We have this situation where we have the sun and the moon in Leo asking us to, again, experience this rebirth in terms of bringing us back into touch with, like, it's like our inner child too. Leo also rules children, and it really wants to liberate and free our inner child to be able to grow and mature and develop and express their potential properly now. We've gotten quite off course, a lot of us, over the course of our entire lives. And now we're having this rebirth back into the true nature of our inner child. And Uranus in Taurus, in square to this new moon in Leo, wants to shake up everything that makes us comfortable, that makes us feel safe, that is, you know, our comfort zone. That these are in terms of relationships and financial situations and just stability and circumstances in our lives, in order so that we can have this rebirth. It's like any relationship or structure or foundation or financial situation that we have gotten ourselves into that has become more of like a prison that we've built for ourselves than, you know, a pedestal for us to truly shine, is getting broken down through this energy. Uranus in Taurus really, really wants to bring us back into a place of creating stability, comfort, security, and value in our life from a place of genuine, authentic, creative self-expression. And in order to do that, everything that is doing that for us now, but that is hindering that authentic, creative self-expression, or that we have to turn our back on our own unique talent, creative potential, abilities, and just authentic originality in order to maintain those relationships, those structures, those comforts, those material possessions, all of that. That's not what Uranus wants to do here. Uranus wants to free us from any of those things that are hindering us in any way from being able to shine to the fullest and truest potential of our soul and our spirit and our heart. So big shakeups this month that are, you know, probably quite uncomfortable, out of the blue, very random, very erratic, spontaneous, chaotic, but it's for the purpose of freeing us from anything that is truly prohibiting us from being able to get back in touch with that inner child, heal that inner child, and allow that inner child to develop into the authentic adult that it was truly meant to be, and express everything within the nature of that soul and that spirit and that heart to the fullest capacity, and then be of service to humanity with it, the Aquarian polarity there. So that's really what we have going on with this new moon. This whole cycle is ripe and primed for major upheavals, major changes. So we have to keep that in mind. And a lot of this, like I said, is going to have to do with like these awakenings that we're coming to. Uranus is the great awakener. And so through the course of these things that happen, it's going to be opening our eyes to a lot of things and changing our minds about a lot of things. And for this new moon, we also have Mercury Combust, which means Mercury is within 10 degrees of the sun. Mercury is lost in the rays of the sun. It can't be perceived because the sun's rays are so bright, and it's within a proximity. And even though this is not a conjunction, Mercury is at 24 degrees of Leo. The sun and the moon are at 17 degrees of Leo. It still is involved in the picture. And when Mercury is combust, it's sort of like we are not, the communication, the mind is stifled like slightly in some type of way. Like we don't have all of the information. Like we are not seeing things totally clearly. We're not understanding things totally clearly. Things are hidden at the moment to an extent. So we have that going on this cycle as well. And it also is more like internalized mental energy, internalized analyzation, internalized thoughts and stuff like that. And in combination to Mercury being combust at 24 degrees of Leo for this new moon today, he's also forming the apex of a yod between Neptune retrograde in Pisces and Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. So we have, and this yod is very collective. It's happening on a very collective level because it's regarding Neptune and Pluto, and those two planets, when they're working especially together, it has like a very like collective effect. But it's on our minds, and it's on our individual minds, because Mercury is a personal planet. And so the way I'm reading this energy in the context of this new moon is internalized mental energy, bringing collective awakening and transformation. Neptune retrograde is giving us a stronger ability to really like connect to our intuition and our higher self, and to perceive things more clearly from an internal awareness that we're gaining. And Pluto retrograde is actually like on a fundamental level really purging things and transforming things and redefining our relationship to power. And it's also very regenerative on a really deep psychic level, deep levels of the psyche. And when we put those two things in combination with with Mercury for this yod today in combustion with the sun, it is talking about over the course of this month, over the course of this cycle, this internalized, self-analytical, like looking inwards mental energy that is, like I said, because of Neptune and Pluto being involved, collectively helping us to come to internal awakenings, internal awareness, internal clarity about things in our own lives and our feelings, Neptune and Pisces, and also helping us to purge, clear, transform, and like regenerate on deep levels our relationship to power dynamics in the world and also to ourselves. So soul searching really with this Mercury aspect is how I'm seeing this in alignment, and it kind of fits because this whole thing is about this rebirth into like what truly will genuinely really make me happy, and what do I really want to be doing, and what do I have inside of me that I can use to find both happiness and fulfillment and success, and give me an opportunity to shine in my own life, and also contribute something of value to the greater good, to the overall whole, to the larger population, to fill a niche that is a void that I have the skills to be able to satisfy. That is the Aquarian Leo axis. That's the dynamic. That's what it wants us to do. It really wants us to search our heart and our soul and to find those special, unique gifts, talents, blessings, abilities that only we were born with, and to really cultivate them to the truest and fullest of our potential, and then to share them with the greater good, the greater whole, so that we can participate in our own success, Leo, how we shine, and also serve the greater good, the overall whole, Aquarius. So this energy this month is pushing us in that direction. And then we have this internalized soul searching also that's going on with this yod between Pluto, Neptune, and Mercury that is helping in this process of bringing us into this state of greater awareness and clarity so that we can reconnect on these deep levels. We're searching our souls this month, and we're really truly trying to find and unlock our passions and what makes us feel alive, that we can cultivate and develop and use to make our lives way more happier and better and more fulfilling going into the future. And like I said, be serving humanity as well, that whole Aquarian theme. So we have that. And then, let's see, we have Mars in square to the nodes also for this activation today. Mars, it's not an exact square, there's a 2-degree orb, but Mars is at 7 degrees of Virgo, and the north node and the south node, destiny and karma, the future path that we're moving down, and also what we are very comfortable and familiar with that we need to release and let go of. They're in Gemini and Sagittarius, mutable signs. Virgo's a mutable sign as well. So making a T-square between Mars and the north and the south node. And what this is going to be doing over the course of this month is sort of creating some like conflict, or we're going to be fighting for the future, basically, the future, how we want it to be. And there's just like, let's see, what conflict in terms of what we are moving away from, and also in terms of what we are moving into. Fighting for how we want our future to look, conflict around those lines, and also a little bit of conflict around what we're leaving behind, what we've been comfortable with, and what needs to be released right now. Just sort of bringing up maybe some angst, some frustration, and some tension, because this is trying to get us to break through. And it makes sense in the context of this rebirth cycle that we would have this tension and we would have these more conflicting feelings, and possibly bringing up anger for people too, in regards to wanting to be able to move forward but still feeling somewhat caught up and restrained by the past. But that's also what this Uranus square is doing, is shaking things off that need to go to liberate us from what we need to move away from, and so that we can move in forward and embrace the future. But it might, with this Mars and square to the nodes for this, be bringing up some type of just like conflict or anger or tension regarding moving forward and things from the past. But Uranus is working to shake that up as well. We also have Saturn in a trine to the North Node and a sextile to the South Node in Sagittarius. This aspect has been going on for quite a while though, and now it is in a 1-degree orb, so it is stronger too. So there's a lot of future building and past releasing involved in this cycle as well. Saturn at this degree is asking us to re-envision our ideals based on the new awarenesses that we've come from, based on this soul searching, based on new attitudes and new perspectives we've arrived at after things that have been changing over the course of the past few months, the past year, and to make sure that our ideals of the past are still in alignment with our ideals for who we are now and what we want to build and grow going forward, and the true nature of our authentic values. Authenticity is the name of the game right now, moving into the age of Aquarius with Saturn in Aquarius, and with, you know, this Leo Aquarius axis and Uranus and square ruling Aquarius. Authenticity is really the big push right now, and the more you resist moving back into your original authentic self, the more difficult these things and changes and circumstances are just going to be, because you're working against the universe. Universe wants to make these changes. The best thing that we really can all do right now is surrender to them and not resist, because it's really trying to put us on a better path. And even if we have to let go of some things that are very painful and very difficult, ultimately it will be for the best in the future, and that will become known as we move in that direction. It will be like the silver linings of things. So just maintain faith in that. Uranus is a driving force in this. Uranus is a silver lining planet, and it's putting things right how they need to be for the best outcomes, the most fulfilling, happy, positive ways going forward into the future. Now, and the last thing that I want to talk about with the nodes today is that we actually have Juno, the asteroid that rules marriage and really binding relationships and stuff like that, in an exact conjunction with the South Node. And this tells me, like, this is an aspect of releasing marriages to things, not necessarily like marriages to people, although that's obviously involved in this as well. But anything that we've been like married to that is no longer serving us, relationships and commitments that are no longer serving us, are going to be falling away this cycle as well, because it's in a conjunction with the South Node. The South Node is what we are all being asked to release and move away from right now. So I am expecting also things that we've been metaphorically married to for quite a while that are, like I said, this whole theme of building ourselves like a prison instead of building ourselves a beautiful palace to live and thrive in. That is being spoken about again for a second time with this Juno in a conjunction to the South Node for this new moon today. Now, the last aspect that I want to talk about is we have Venus for the new moon in almost an exact opposition. Well, it's a 2-degree orb opposition with Neptune retrograde. And this aspect, first of all, is telling me that this is giving us a ton of ability and an enhanced ability to use that imaginative, envisioning, intention, belief, manifestation ability this cycle. But we really are going to want to be careful with idealizing people and relationships. This is not the time where we want to be idealizing relationships too much, because so much is changing right now. But I wrote, be very careful idealizing people and relationships this cycle, but also this gives us more of a greater ability to use the imaginative creative power of intention and imagination, like I always say, mixed with belief to help bring our ideals into reality. Neptune and Venus is very idealistic, and it gives us an ability to sometimes tangibly manifest those ideals into the physical plane. And with Neptune at the degree, a materializing medium, giving a seance, this is a tangible thing that we have available to us this cycle as well. Let's see. And Venus is at the degree a girls' basketball team. So working together, teamwork, and using all of these different, imagination, intention, visualization, belief, faith, all of these skills working together, all these mental capacities working together can have a very beneficial effect in helping to materialize our ideals, manifest our dreams this cycle, or begin to birth them, in this rebirth. And that also has a lot to do with it being a new moon in Leo, very much about the power of creative manifestation, the power of the creative belief in oneself and one's value and one's potential to be able to act on that and to manifest it into success in the world. So we have that going on as well. So overall, in terms of the aspects, in terms of the energetics, we're just in a window of change. It's a birthing process. New moon is wedged in between two full moons, all about releasing and moving away from the past in order to embrace the future, which has to be in alignment with true creative personal self-expression. That is the message. That is what is going on with this, and that is just what is organically happening as a result of these energetics being in place with all of us. Definitely, it might be a very difficult cycle in some ways because of just people, this Uranus aspect, and just these things coming out of the blue and the unexpected becoming, just happening. Expect the unexpected shocks and surprises and just everything crazy with Uranus this cycle. But ultimately, it is about soul searching. It is about reconnecting with the true nature of your heart and soul and releasing and letting go of things that have held you back from being able to realign with that. And if you can go ahead and work with that process, work with that energy, be conscious of it and not be resisting it and be surrendering to it, you're going to experience a much more beautiful, creative, productive, beneficial month in moving you towards truly igniting that potential and creating with this energy. But if you're in resistance to it, it probably is likely to be more of a difficult experience as we go through this cycle. And again, with Mars and square to the nodes, that makes sense. This is about releasing past relationships, past commitments that are no longer serving as well. And we know that because Uranus is in Taurus, talking about the same thing in Venus's sign. And then Venus, ruler of Taurus, where Uranus is opposed Neptune, telling us that if we, at a girls' basketball team, telling us that if we can align these mental faculties that work together to actually help manifest and produce outcomes in the physical world, that we have an ability this cycle to bring our dreams into reality, to help manifest our ideals with Neptune and Venus. But like I said, you're going to want to be really careful idealizing people in relationships under this influence, because it can be very hypnotic, and a lot of times things aren't as they appear in relationships and in terms of people when this energetic is in effect. So, but that's really, more of a minor aspect in regards to this. Now, before I let you go, I do want to talk about this Lionsgate that is getting a lot of attention because it's happening in a pretty close alignment with this new moon in Leo. It's actually, though, it's not happening specifically on 8/8 on today for the new moon. It's actually the exact alignment is going to be on the 11th. And for those of you who don't know or who are unaware, every year there's this window that opens and it's called the Lionsgate, and it happens between July 28th and August 12th. And it's when the star Sirius, it's when it moves closer to Earth, and it aligns with Orion, with the Orion constellation, and also the pyramids in Egypt. And it's just a really prominent, well-known, special time because of what Sirius represents. And Sirius really represents all of this really profound creative energy that very much lines up with the archetype of the new moon in Leo. And the reason why I said in the beginning that we should really wait to start our processes of manifestation and intention for this new moon until the 11th is because that is when that activation will actually be in effect. And at that point, it's important to make the differentiation because the moon will actually no longer be in Leo on that date when Sirius comes the closest and makes that alignment. And the moon will be in Virgo, and the moon is actually going to be talking about Mercury. It's a much more mercurial energy because Mercury is ruled by Virgo. It's not actually so much about the Leo energy for this activation, but and I'll talk about this more on the 11th when we get into this actual energy, but the overall, I mean, Sirius rules like fame and honor and riches, but mostly it's just this immense creative potential. So alongside, and it's just happening a few days after the new moon. So alongside this new moon, and as a fundamental significant part of this cycle, we're having this energy where we're just getting this really big dose of this really extreme divine creative energy and intention that is coming through, and it can bring a lot of success and a lot of like honor and fulfillment, really. And so this is significant as well, although it's not happening on the exact new moon, but it's happening in such close proximity, and it is definitely a fundamental marker of this cycle that we're being blessed with as well, that is really speaking to the new moon. It really very much corresponds to the energetics of the new moon, and I do definitely think it's a positive thing, and I think that it is going to be very much in effect for the new moon, even though the exact activation is not actually until the 11th. But again, it is just really emphasizing this 8-8 energy that we're getting right now of this rebirth into creative potential. And it's funny because 8, that really is kind of like the fundamental of that numerological energetic as well. So interesting, you guys, very interesting. I'm seeing this as a very positive cycle. I think that we're going to be having some beneficial things going on for us this cycle, definitely, in terms of liberating us and helping us to come back into contact with these just fundamental parts of ourselves, coming back to the inner child. That's just what I keep like coming back to when I think about this energy, and just developing and cultivating it, but simultaneously having to deal with whatever comes along with removing what needs to be removed in order so that we can actually go through this process unencumbered by what, you know, we're sort of obligated to or controlled by at this point in time. So that's my report for today, you guys. I hope I was able to provide you with something that can give you some guidance and clarity, and to look forward to and understand about these energetics as you go throughout your Leo cycle. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Share it with your friends if you think they would be interested. Leave me comments. I absolutely love your comments. And ring the bell if you guys want notifications every time I upload a video. And I also have a Facebook group and a Facebook page if you guys want to come over and like and join that as well. And I will see you guys back here on Monday for my astrological outlook of the day. And I'm also going to be making some personal forecasts for all 12 signs for the new moon in Leo this cycle. So make sure you check those out as well. They will be in the description box of this video when I have that video done. Have a beautiful day, you guys. Have a beautiful Leo cycle, and I will see you next time. Bye.